Hi guys, welcome to the channel, Practical Reefer. My name's Mark. Now today I'm just going to do a 7-week update on the XL200 Reefer. Now it's been 7 weeks exactly since it's been filled, and we're starting to get a bit of that sort of ugly stage of the brown diatoms, so it's not too bad at the moment. I'm just going to go over what the tank's looking like and just where it's sitting at just now. So exactly 7 weeks since it was filled, about 4 weeks ago we started to get a little bit of the brown diatoms, and that's when I started adding the dove and the stomatella snails, which you've seen 2 weeks ago on the channel. And that was actually 4 weeks ago that it was filmed. And the sort of couple of weeks after that, with the 10 gallon, I would switch on the light at night time, and there'd be loads of stomatella snails on the glass, and there'd be dove snails on some of the frag racks and things, and I would be grabbing as many as I could and getting them into the reefer. So they've done a not too bad job. They're sort of nibbling away at the algae and the diatoms, and they're kind of keeping it down. I've been scraping the glass pretty much. I've not touched the rock, so they've been working on that. And I've also added something else just in a minute that I'll show you. So we're getting that kind of brown stage, sort of 6-7 weeks in. It is a lot of the rocks quite fairly well covered, certainly the higher portions of the tank, and everything that's facing up the way, so it's not too bad. It's certainly just at that brown diatom stage. So I spent a couple of weeks adding loads of those snails. There's probably a couple of dozen stomatella snails, from sort of normal size ones to down to very, very tiny ones, and there's also probably half a dozen decent sized dove snails, and probably a dozen, if not 20, very, very tiny dove snails as well. So they're working away on that. What I did do as well, 1 week ago, I actually did some tests on the tank, the first time that I've actually tested it at all, because a lot of the media came over from an old tank, so I wasn't really worried about the nitrogen cycle. However, pH is at 8.3, the algae is at 7.3, so that was filled with natural seawater, and then there's had a couple of water changes with some Tropic Marine Pro, which is a little bit higher, but it sits about that anyway. They're pretty close in terms of algae, so I don't mind dropping between natural seawater and Tropic Marine Pro. Nitrates are at 25 and phosphates are at 0.25, so they're both quite high, but it's just cycling, and I'm also running very, very basic filtration, or almost no filtration at the moment. So I'll show you that in a minute. We'll look at the tank and the sump, and I'll show you what the filtration is and what's going to be happening in the future. So yeah, we'll get the camera turned round and we'll have a look. Again, sorry I missed a video last week. The video you saw 2 weeks ago was actually filmed well before that, probably about 4 weeks ago. I've had a bit of a holiday, went down to Wales, and we took the dog up Snowdon. My little French bulldog made it, which was quite a surprise. And also I've been having some issues with my phone. There's been dust getting under the camera glass cover, which has been giving me bother with the focus. So I've had to replace that myself, because I didn't want to send the phone away and not have it for 2 weeks. But it just took me a bit of time to get the time to set aside and get that replaced, because that's my main camera, and this is why I got it's the Samsung S20 Ultra. If anyone's interested, that's what I'm using. But unfortunately there was dust getting under the camera glass cover, which would cause me a bit of a headache. So I've got that fixed the last couple of days, which is why I've had a bit of a break, and I've also been on holiday. So we'll get the camera turned round and we'll have a look at the tank. So guys, as we can see, the rock has that good old brown diatom stage on it. It's not so bad at the bottom. I've got that rock there. I actually need to uncover that a little bit. And again, it kind of carries on. That bit doesn't really face up to light, and we'll come back to the urchin in a second. So yeah, good old brown covering the diatoms. The urchin has only been added in the last couple of hours. So we'll just zoom into him there. So yeah, he's only been in there the last couple of hours, or hour or so. So hopefully he's going to start scraping back the rock, just to prevent anything like green hair algae or any more serious algae forming. However, let me just find some of them. We do have quite a lot of cleanup crew in here. Let me just get the focus. So there's a little dove snail at the bottom there on the sand bed. Right in the middle of the rock there, excuse the focus, we've got a stomatella snail. That's a decent sized one. It's facing down the way. I'm just trying to find them now because they're all very tiny. There's actually two, zoom out again, there's two on that rock there. Just going away, I'll get turned around. And here's some of the cleanup crew I'm on about, guys. This is there's two of the dove snails at the bottom there, and then another one just on its own. It's quite hard to see, it's turned away. So there's two there, but then also we've got the stomatella snails. So there's two there that almost look like pink coralline algae, but that's the stomatellas. And then we've got another one here. Let me just get the focus. That's a bit better. So you've got one on there, and then there's a few others kicking about, but they do like to hide. But that's probably the best one there. Just see it in the background. Going away there, you see its little antenna. Let me just get it from the other side. There we go. That's another one of the stomatellas there. So there's loads of them in the tank. They're all hidden just now with the lights on, but when the lights go off, they're all over the place. So they're a good start. And then we also have the urchin. And so guys, there's the urchin now, and just to show you, probably see a little bit better there that a lot of the rocks, obviously very, very brown. Excuse the reflections there. And the same there, but just with the urchin being in an hour, there was a section to the right of it, just there, which was very, very brown also, just the same as the rest of the rock. And he started scraping away, so hopefully he continues to do that job, and over the next few weeks he'll make the rock a lot whiter. What I would say long term, I probably don't want an urchin. I do want things to pick away at the rocks, but I would like coralline algae to grow, so you might go back in the nano. And you'll also see at the back here, now I've switched lights off just to help see these, if the mollies don't get in the way. I've got lots of the sporodid worms growing on the back glass, so bit of biodiversity there. I've not been scraping them off, I've just kind of kept them in. I've only been scraping the side glass there, the front glass, and mostly the side glass at there with the white. I've not done that in the last few days, but I've just been using the 2 Nano just for ease, and then every couple of days, maybe a little bit longer, scraping the side panel there as well with a long algae scraper. But urchin seems quite happy doing his job there, starting to eat away at the diatoms on the surface. So it is quite a rough rock. There's a lot of texture to the surface, so there's some of the bits he won't be able to get into, but at least the majority he'll be able to clean up nicely for us. So that's really good. And then coming back to filtration, excuse my reflections and my legs from being at the gym. This is the sump. I've not done anything with it. I'm literally using the filter sock, and I'm putting some filter floss in it. So that's getting changed once a week, and I'm doing water changes. So next big things for the tank is to get the skimmer into the sump. I need to give the sump a bit of a hoover as well, a bit of a siphon. Get the skimmer in, get that running, and then also I'm thinking about doing a refugium off to the side. So it'll be like a hang-on refugium, whether that's DIY or I use a brand that's in the UK. We'll have a look at that. I've also removed the little valve off the ATO because I wasn't a fan of it. Obviously I'll put it back in if I need to do a water change. But yeah, other than that, and also the ATO's lasting a week with the lid, so that's working out really well. It's been great for when I've been going away and stuff like that. But yeah, skimmer next to get those nutrients down, and get a refugium. It's going to go in the side space, and I'm probably going to grow some corals in the main part of the sump there. So we'll come back in just a second. So that's how the tank's looking, guys. As I say, I'm just doing my weekly water changes. They're getting a cube of frozen food a day because I do have about 30 mollies. And I'm just scraping the glass, and I'm literally just using filter floss at the moment. So big things for me next is to get the skimmer in and bedded in. It might take a week or two before it's running nicely, and then I also need to start thinking about a refugium because I've certainly got enough nitrates and phosphates to grow a bit of Cheeto. And how I'm going to do that, there's a couple of different ways that I'm thinking of, but we'll need to look into that and see. So yeah, that's the tank at 7 weeks. We've got that sort of diatom covering, and the urchin starting to make its way across the rock and certainly get rid of a lot of that diatom. So I imagine in a few weeks it'll be looking probably a bit better. Certainly faring okay in terms of compared to the nano. Nothing majorly different. Obviously I've got some nice mature rock in there, which hopefully will just I won't hit that hard of an ugly stage. And I've put an urchin in at 7 weeks, whereas I didn't buy an urchin until I had problems in the nano. And I'm more aware now of the nutrients, getting the skimmer in, getting a refugium in, and I should be able to just stop myself from hitting the edge of that cliff and falling off it. So Tank's looking pretty good. Again, it's going to be a while before corals go in it, but gives me time to set up the skimmer, set up a refugium. The fish are in there, they're quite happy and healthy, and start adding clean-up crew and just get things steady and stable and working away. So sorry for the little delay in the update, guys. Thank you all very much for watching, it means a lot. It's great to see your comments below and people getting involved. And I'll come back to the Nano in another one. It literally looks like a massive frag tank at the moment. It's covered in frag racks, and I have to move them all out of the way to try and clean the glass. But a lot of that stuff is ready to go in there. So I've got a lot of corals ready to go in this, because I didn't stop buying corals because I didn't have anywhere to put them. I just bought more frag racks and put them in the Nano. So we'll deal with that later, but thanks again for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll catch you all next time.